you're more, you're more open to it. They say time heals all wounds, right? Because contrary to what we're saying right now, it's healed enough, and I guess it goes back to your original statement. Is like, what is the definition of healed? Are you healed enough to continue on, and you develop the proper tools? You got your knee brace on your relationship now, right? You're more prepared. You stretch better. What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. I am Tavares Ferguson, aka Ferg, joined my co-host Buff and Rozzy. Fellas, Happy New Year's. It's been a minute.
Happy New Year,
bro. How have you been?
I'm not doing too great since I got a water leak in my front yard, so pulled out last night. I just saw water streaming down my sidewalk. I was like, wait a minute, that shouldn't be happening. So I went out and I pressed down on the grass and it was all spongy and everything. And I was like, ooh, this just looks expensive. And so the folks came out this morning and yeah, I was right. It's pretty expensive. So yeah, I'm not doing too well right now.
Was it from a freeze or?
We don't know. It wasn't really that cold, so I don't think it was from a freeze. So it may just be that it like was on a rock and rubbed a hole into it or something like that. I don't know, but it's at a really random spot. And usually when it's in the yard, it's below they bury it below the frost line, so it usually doesn't freeze unless it's like an exposed pipe or something like that. So I doubt it was a freeze, but I don't know. I just know it's broken and I got to get it fixed. So right now I'm sitting in the house with no water. And I have to go out to the water main and turn it on anytime I want to use some water, and then turn it back off so that I don't like have a high water bill and I don't mess up my yard too much. So, yeah, I'm living like back in the old days.
Home ownership, ain't it grand?
Yep. Yeah, I was talking about that with my mother-in-law. I was like, I miss the days when I could just call a landlord and be like, hey, this thing's broke, need to figure it out. And they come out and they fix it and I don't have to worry about trying to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to get it fixed. But, everybody say home ownership is the way to go, which it is, people. It is still the best way to create wealth. So don't think home ownership, we're poo-pooing on home ownership, but it's expensive though. And you got to be ready for that when you buy a house.
Well, sucks for you. That's not a way to bring in the new year.
Yeah.
We'll get it out the way early.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's all up from here, right?
That's your one.
Yeah. But other than that, man, everything's good. Birmingham is no longer the 205, so they have actually run out of 205 phone numbers, and they are issuing 659 area codes now. So that is. I don't like that either. I don't. It is weird and different, and I'm worried because is Mobile next? Is the 251 gonna not be the 251 anymore?
Yeah. I mean, I guess considering you're programming everything in your phone is not as big a deal, but because Houston recently had to do that, so Houston has 3 area codes, 281, 832, and 713, and now they have added a 4th, probably in the last year, 346. So that kind of sucks. Yeah, because I get it. It sucked for us when we were trying to get a Google Voice number because that random number just didn't seem like we were local, right? Mm-hmm. It just. It's like who's calling me from a 346, and then it doesn't say Houston. It'll say like the outskirts of Houston,
Oh, okay.
And so
why are y'all getting a Google Voice? I've heard people get Google Voice numbers. I just want to question.
It was for the lamplighters. So we have a website and stuff like that. So that Google Voice number will be the official phone number for the organization, and it rings multiple numbers. Myself, my program coordinator, and my assistant director. So,
okay. That's smart. We might need to get a Google Voice number.
Yeah, you can get,
Yeah, Three Brothers No Sense. Google Voice.
I think it's free. It's free.
Oh, even better. I like free.
As long as you have a Google account, Google it.
Yeah. So, I got a lot of
Google
stuff
Voice
to go
hit
through.
us up, and we'll take that check.
Yeah, there you go. We like sponsors too.
You about to tell the truth?
I figured one of y'all were gonna hit on it. So I wasn't even really gonna talk about that because I got so much stuff to go. A 13-year-old beat Tetris, so I didn't even know you could beat Tetris, but somebody officially beat Tetris and got the end screen, and that was the first time ever. So yeah, Tetris has officially been beat.
How many levels?
Like 150 something or another. I can't remember the exact number, but it's a lot. So I beat Dr. Mario back in the day, but I never beat Tetris. I could never beat Tetris.
Does he get a scholarship or something? Do you win anything?
I don't think so. A journalist took him out in the back and said, now it's time to go touch grass and get a real job at 13. I don't know, but I don't know what that journalist was thinking, but yeah, I don't think he get anything other than a lot of media attention. Maybe he'll get an NIL deal or something.
I can see a movie coming out of that. The kid who beat Tetris.
Yeah. And the only other thing I really wanted to talk about is Ja Rule is back. He's dropping an album. And he says it could be potentially $100 million deal for his new album. Exactly. That's exactly what I thought too.
Is he going back in time to drop this album, or what's going on? What kind of features is he going to have?
Ja Rule album, but I'm just waiting on 50 Cent and what he's gonna do when it comes out or whatever. The hilarity is going to ensue. There's going to be more truth told from 50 Cent because he's petty as Cat Williams. So we'll see how this goes. But that's all I got, man. That's it.
Buff, what do you have for us, bro?
Let's see here. So a couple episodes ago, I talked about my issues with social media, and I just want to throw some numbers out there to people. In 2021, 12 million people thought about suicide. 1.7 million people attempted it. And in 2022, 50,000 people took their life by suicide. And surveys are saying that Americans are, well, I guess people, not just Americans, people in general are sadder than they've ever been before, and they're linking it to social media. I'm not here to say stop social media. We use it. We use it to help promote the show, stay in touch with people that we care about, laugh at jokes. But as we start this new year off, I want to tell the listeners and anyone else, if you feel yourself feeling different, feeling down, consistently depressed, take a break from social media. It may not even be tied to that, but let that be one of your steps, man. Take care of yourself. Make sure your mental is in check. Talk to somebody. We always talking about seeking therapy and things like that. But social media will be there. It's not going anywhere. It's okay to take a break. And you don't have to announce that you're taking a break, by the way. Just go.
It's not a break if you don't announce it.
You don't have to. I mean, it's okay. You don't have to let everybody know. So I want to put that out there. Razio touched on Cat Williams, but before Cat Williams, Simone Biles had everybody talking. And it was just amazing to watch. And it wasn't just women, but largely it was women. Be upset for her. She was okay with what her husband said. She was fine with it. But all these women, and I guess some men, but all these people, no women, all these women were getting upset with her, and some even rooting for the downfall of her marriage, saying things like, I'm throwing something on the grill once they get a divorce because she should know better. And if you're not...
What should she know better of, Buff? What exactly did he say that pissed people off?
She is the prize, and you don't let your man sit there and call himself the prize. You're the prize. Okay. So, but no, they did. I guess they did an interview. I didn't even watch it, but I saw enough comments that I think know what's going on. They did an interview, and I guess at some point he said that he didn't know who she was at first. I think she, not ran after, but like she pursued him. And he wasn't really like into her at first, but as time went on, he started liking her more, and he felt like he was the prize. And a lot of people took issue with that. But that's okay to take issue with it, but just to see people get upset for her, like she's fine with it. Just be happy for them. Be happy for the love that they have.
She seems pretty happy.
Every time I see her, she cheesing.
Yeah, she seems pretty happy. And
from what I told, like that was just a snippet. Like the totality of the interview, he really shows that he loves her.
Yeah,
but
and it goes to show. Like I actually was talking to Z about that today, and it was just a whole other subject. But I use that as I think one of the challenges I've had in my life is I've always thought differently. And not in a bad way. Like I try to live in a equal-minded world where it's like, tell me how that makes sense, where it's okay for one person to see themselves as a prize and the other person not to see themselves just because somebody just taught you for years that the woman is the prize. And it's like, why do we keep following that? And, I've always felt like I'm just a big of a prize as you are. And so when I was dating, it was, I would pursue initially, I got your attention. We both show that we have interest in each other. Now let's both keep that same energy to show that and so I'm not going to be the person that's going to go out of my way to make you feel super special and it's only one-sided. I'm here to enjoy my life too, and let's find things we can enjoy together. But
that's sassy. See, you men are sassy these days.
The thing about it, I've always been me. I've always been called random things. Well, that's just Ferg, or he thinks. No, it's just I try to look at. I just want to be happy with life, and I want you to be happy with life. And if I feel like the happier I am, the happier I can make you. And I've asked several people before. Would you put that same energy that you expect him to put in to make him happy? If you knew it was all about your happiness or you being the prize or whatever, or him being the prize, would you do it? Because women hate that. I mean, there's a lot of women that hate the idea of a man being a prize. Mm-hmm. For what? And, it's just a whole other thing. But
it's crazy how we hear certain things. So like this is like completely different, but like when a lot of people heard Black Lives Matter, it's like they were hearing Black Lives Matter only. When in essence you were saying, no, Black Lives Matter because we're the only lives right now that seemingly don't matter. So we have to tell you, hey, we matter. We know all the other races matter. You saying you're a prize, I think some people hear, oh, he thinks he's better than me. Oh, he's going to treat him, he's going to pay himself more attention than he is me. And it's like, no, I'm just saying that, hey, we both are bringing something to this relationship and I'm going to treat you the same way that I want to be treated from you and everything you just said.
Yeah. And, because I'm like, I know my value and it's not that high value, yada, yada, yada. I'm special. It's just like, I think I'm a great person too. And so the fact that I feel this strongly about myself, and I hope you feel just as strong about yourself, because I want somebody who's confident as well. Why is that a problem? Like, why is it the fact that, and you've probably seen several posts recently where there's a lot of women speaking. I was like, girl, don't ever let him figure out his true value, because then he starts looking at himself differently and he realizes he doesn't have to put up with certain things. And as long as you guys know me, like, I don't really put up with stuff like that. And we're like, I didn't jump into relationships. I didn't, because I'm like, it's not worth it. If I know that I'm more than likely this is going to make me upset or it's not going to go anywhere, then why am I wasting my time? And at the same time, I want women to have that same thought process as me. Like, you know what? it's a small red flag, but he ain't cute enough for all that. So I'm gone. Yeah. Even if it's just the way I look, I'm too short, whatever it is. Be petty, you know?
Yeah. It's, you know, we always say relationships shouldn't be hard. They're work, but they shouldn't be hard. And so if your relationship is hard, if it's always a constant battle, we're always, I'm having to prove my love to you every day and you're questioning it, I'm questioning, y'all shouldn't be in a relationship together. I mean, like you said, move on. It shouldn't be that difficult. It shouldn't be the headaches and all of that stuff. You have to work at it. I mean, you have to date your spouse. You have to make sure that they feel loved, but at the same time, it shouldn't be like work. It shouldn't be, you know, I mean, we talk about how, you know, we're raising the kids and it's work and you're tired and everything, but you love it though. It's not like you're like, why do I have to do this? Like you love doing it, or I know I do, and so it's that a relationship should be that.
What's that saying Ferg hates? It takes a lot for a man to handle me. What? Why?
Why? He's not strong enough for me. He's like, why is that? Why is that a badge of honor? You know, even guys like, I need a down chick. Like, oh, you need somebody who's gonna hide your drugs. Like, you probably don't be like, I don't want, you know, like, I don't want somebody who has to cover for me and, you know, take a body for, like, you know, like, I want somebody I can enjoy, you know, and I don't want to put a woman in that position. I want somebody that sees that the value in me is like, I enjoy being with him the same way I enjoy being with her. That's all I've ever wanted, you know, because I've been check out. And that's, you know, and that's what happens. I feel like in a lot of relationships and marriage, you check out, you're so comfortable, but you check out. And then you find things like the kids or work or whatever to cannibalize your time rather than pouring time in that relationship, which should be probably one of your most important relationships in your life, right? So that's a whole nother conversation.
And yes, there are men that say I'm the prize and they use it as, you got to do everything to try to get me because I have more options. We're not talking about those type of men. We're not talking about that. But that's all I got on that. And one last thing, apparently DEI is the new racism. So the same people that brought...
Say what that means.
Oh, yeah, diversity, equity, inclusion. That's it, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and a lot of, it's just policies, is, you know, to try to get as much diversity and make everything fair and on an even playing field at particular jobs and institutions. But so we saw Claudine Gay had to step down as president of Harvard. Now, yes, she was found to have plagiarized herself, but apparently that happens a lot. And what doesn't usually happen is the punishment that she received versus others. But we have people that are on the right that are going after people on the left. And pretty much they want to get rid of DEI. They feel like it's racism against white people. And so just like, you know, woke has become weaponized and what was that? I can't believe I'm drawing a blank, but they were claiming it was being taught in school, but it really wasn't being taught in school. We talked about
critical race theory.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
CRT. CRT was getting weaponized. So add DEI to the list as something for people on the right to attack.
That's strange. It seems there's a commonality here. I just can't put my finger on it. You know, I feel like it's white. I mean, right in front of my face, and I just can't figure out what it is that makes so many people uncomfortable. But you know,
that's all I got, man. That's all I got, man. I do wish I had a watch.
Oh, and on that, I do want to explain. I want to explain a little bit on plagiarizing yourself. People are like, how can you plagiarize yourself? And so you can plagiarize yourself in academia by trying to kind of use the same paper as a new paper. So that's how you plagiarize yourself. So you used it in your sophomore year, and then you try to turn that same paper in your senior year again. That's plagiarizing yourself. So you can plagiarize yourself. I know a lot of folks couldn't get their heads around that, but it is possible to do that.
Thank you for that. And also they went after her because they felt like she was soft on, she wasn't being hard enough on people that were so-called going after the whole Israel Gaza thing. they felt like she didn't take that seriously enough as well. That's all I got, man.
Land of the free. So I'll ask you guys really fast, how were your holidays? We didn't really hit on that. How was everything?
Memorable. Well, my New Year's Eve was pretty quiet, but Christmas was memorable.
Yeah. Okay. You gonna leave the people in suspense, or you gonna give them more?
Just went to New York, man. Was in New York for Christmas.
And
it's nothing. We went to a couple of shows. We saw the Rockettes at Radio City Music Hall. We saw a play at Madison Square Garden called "'Twas the Night." So it was just really, really, really good. I ate at Spark Steakhouse, where John Gotti ordered that Paul Castellano hit. So it was a good time, man. You
felt like a boss while you were there?
I did. Hey, while you talking, the host thought Tabitha was a celebrity. He was like, it looks like you don't really want to be seen by a lot of people. Are you a celebrity? And she said, no. I said, you should have lied. We should have got some free wine or something.
Yup. Back corner.
Somebody would have been posting her on Snapchat, Instagram, all shit like.
He was offering us like a secret table and stuff. That was funny, but that probably also means they don't get a lot of black people in there. So there's that.
How was the steak?
It's good. It was good, but forget the steak. The shrimp and the lobster tail. Man, if you ever go to Sparks, get that garlic lemon sauteed shrimp.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah, man. It's like
sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
What about you, Razi? Yeah. One day.
Yeah, mine was good, man. We ended up going to Gatlinburg, just get a little condo down in Gatlinburg, went skiing, took the kids skiing for the first time.
Do they ski or snowboard?
Sophia snowboarded, Ollie skied, and so it was a little bit easier for him with his balance. He's still not very good with balance. So he got on the skis. Sophie was on the snowboard. They both took to it. We were on the bunny slopes for the whole time. I stayed on the bunny slopes with them and ended up falling and jamming my wrist up. But either way, it was a really good time. You know, we spent a lot of time just kind of hanging out with the family. I will say it was cool because my whole family was there. My mom, my sisters, and everybody. And it was the first time my family plays Phase 10 when we get together. That's what we play. And it was the first time since my dad died that we played Phase 10. So it was kind of cool just having the family back together again, playing it. And just because I don't know if we were unconsciously avoiding it, but every time we were like, let's play, nobody would like pull it out or whatever. But we were just all there. We were together and we just pulled it out and we played. And so it was just a good time just to kind of reconnect with the family and hang out.
Man, it's amazing y'all are still playing Phase 10.
Yeah.
That is
it's a good game, man. It's a good game.
Anything else for us? How was New Year's?
It was good. I mean, I stayed up. I made it to New Year's like at 12 o'clock. That's an accomplishment for me.
Right. You sound old.
The kids actually stayed up with me this time. This is their first time actually staying up until New Year's. So, and I mean, at 12:01, we were like, all right, shut it down. Let's go. We all went to sleep. So, but it was cool though. It was fun.
Did the kids enjoy Santa? Buff did.
We enjoyed Santa at the Rockette show. It's a very dope part of the show. That was a good show, by the way. If you're ever in New York for Christmas, check out that Rockette show at Radio City Music Hall.
Okay.
Did y'all like what was it? Not ski, but ice skate, Times Square?
No, yeah. Listen, the crowds
was so bad.
Oh my God, man! It was no. We did not ice skate. The crowds were just too heavy, bro. Oh,
I can't wait till TJ gets a little older so we can start doing more stuff. Because it's just him being 4 just limits a lot of stuff. I'll jump into mine. So my holidays were great just for the simple fact that I had my mom here. She came in the weekend before my birthday and didn't leave until after Christmas. So I had her here almost two and a half weeks. And that's the most time I spent with her since, I came home my freshman year in summer in college. So that was just awesome, just having her here. You guys brought up a couple, and my sister Tegan came. So it was just fun to have the family here. Want to do that more often, just be around the family. You know, the older I get, the more I just recognize the importance in those moments, those rare moments you get, especially around the holidays when you can almost kind of shut out the rest of the world. You know, you're not ripping and running. You know, we call it Mardi Gras and stuff like that. You're kind of moving about, but just being able to just to sit and be in the moment. So we played a game. There's 2 games I want to bring to our attention. It's a game called Tales. So I will post a video that we saw of it. It's a really, really dope game. It's basically a questions game where you get to, it's like an interview where you essentially interview each other, and it's questions based off of your life, but it's based off of stages: early life, midlife, and later in life. And so it was just, you know, we targeted my mom a lot just because we had her there, but just find out things about her, my sister Z. Sky loved the game. There was things I found out about my mom, like just simple things like I never knew she was a candy striper. You know, that was one of her biggest accomplishments when she was young, and how she was proud, and being certain things about like insecurities and how she, you know, growing up and little things. Like it's really dope to hear. And we recorded some of it. So we'll always have those memories, which is awesome. But it was just rare because it was questions that you just never think to ask. Sometimes we just, you know, I'll speak for myself. Sometimes you think of people's lives in relationship to your life, right? It's my mom is a mom, and the things, because like our kids probably think when they go to bed, we get into bed and the world shuts down. And when they wake up, you know, like it all revolves around them, versus like, you know, Jasmine probably doesn't realize that you've known her mom almost, you know, she's 13. You met her mom when you were 15, right? Like this is around the age 2 years later, I was meeting your mom. And so to understand where you're at that time in your life, and you know, all the things your kids probably don't recognize. And even as an adult, things you don't recognize about your parents or each other. And it was just awesome to hear her stories and just to see her kind of thoughtfully answer, and you know, because things she probably didn't think about. And so same here. And you know, so it was a really good game. So I recommend anybody, just for, I think it's a good thing for couples or family, you know, parents, anybody you want to capture. And if you can record it for your own memories, it's even better, because we shared it with, we did a round each, and we shared it with my brothers on Facebook, on Messenger. And they were like, wow, I didn't know that. Oh, that's awesome. You know, and then it just, you know, it led to other questions. So it just sparked other questions, because you're hearing and it's like, wow, I never knew that about you. What about this? You know, and what are your thoughts on that? And, you know, I didn't realize how shy she was growing up. You know, those were things it's like, how are you shy? And you tell me, you've been telling me what to do my whole life. You know, how can somebody be shy and tell me what to do? But, yeah, you know, so Christmas was real cool. We just stayed at the house for the most part, cooked really good food. I got to cook with my mom, which is one of my favorite things to do. You know, she taught me how to cook. Part of my connection to her is my passion for food and cooking. And that's a bond that we share. You know, we'll call and talk to people. You know, I was teaching her some of my recipes, and she was showing me some things she was doing. It was just really cool. And then New Year's Eve, we did a cabin in Galveston with a couple other families, 4 other families, and we brought all the kids. So they had a blast. You know, we didn't go to a famous steakhouse, but we ate really good. So that Sunday night, we grilled out and we made chicken wings, buffalo wings, all kind of stuff. And then Monday, we fried some seafood, fish, shrimp, and stuff like that. And then later that evening, that night, we did like a seafood boil. So we had Dungeness crab, king crab, shrimp, all kind of stuff. So we ate good, and the bar was immaculate because everybody just brought liquor, and we were done. And I'm still recovering, honestly. So that led me to my last point. I'm having a dry January. So I went really hard over the holidays. Dry January. My goal is not to drink until Mardi Gras. And then no fried food until February as well. So it's not a Daniel fast or anything like that. It's just more so one of those things that Ferg does just to prove to myself I can do it.
And just in case she's listening, Jasmine is 15. So she's at the age Tamara and I met.
Crap. Yeah. See, wow. I want to make her younger. Yeah. So, but they don't recognize, like, in her minds, like, we were meeting each other. Like, we were meeting each other, and 27, 28 years later, I want to make her 13.
Yeah. Y'all got car lined up, ready?
No. No, she's gonna get a hand-me-down. She's gonna hand-me-down.
Edit that part out.
No M4?
No.
Flex your business with an American Express Business Gold Card. You'll earn 4 times membership rewards points on your top 2 eligible spending categories, like transit and electronics, each month, on up to $150K in combined purchases per year. Plus, you can now earn 3 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. Terms and points cap apply. Learn more at AmericanExpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold. Built for business by American Express.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. From your morning podcast to your afternoon playlist, State Farm knows you personalize your entire day. And that's why State Farm helps you personalize your insurance with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It offers coverage options that help protect what you care about most at an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
All right, fellas. We're halfway through the show.
I know, right?
So is Sophie available?
Yeah, she's not. She's out kind of doing her thing. But let's see. I got a joke for y'all though. Did y'all know that the Earth is 70% water and uncarbonated?
Sure.
Yeah, that just means it's flat.
Not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad.
It's your best one for the year, bro.
Yeah. Hey.
It's your best one this year. It's your best one this year. Yeah. Best one this year. See? All right. We might only get one question today. So who wants to jump in, or do you want to? I know it's a topic discussion. It'll be probably
short. I mean,
we always say that.
We say that, but I think it's one that you don't have to explain a lot from it, and so it's a simple question. We always talk about New Year's resolutions and that type of thing, but I want to know what's something that you guys are like really excited for this year. So not necessarily a resolution, but just something that you're like, I'm really excited I'm gonna get a chance to do that this year. So really short. I think it might be, but why are you so excited for that happening?
I'll jump into it. So for me, I have more trips planned than usual. Like, I'm usually kind of fighting, traveling and stuff like that, just being extra cautious with money. It's nothing huge, but already know we're going to Mardi Gras, right? Usually we'll be the last one, like, who's all going? But we're debating, and then we hear Buff coming. It's like, oh, Buff's gonna be down there, I might go. So Mardi Gras, we're supposed to go to Disney. I'm like 50-50 that I'm gonna go to Seersucker. Got a couple of trips lined up for the Lamplighter trip, the Clave, Homecoming. It's just gonna be, we got a cruise in August to the DR. So just, already knowing that we're traveling, and for me, that's huge because it takes a lot for me to sit back and enjoy life, and that I'm making a conscious effort to do those things and just enjoy. So
nice.
I think mine is trip related too. This will be our 4th year in a row. We let Jasmine pick the where for the family trips. And so we'll be taking her to LA this year. And I'm looking forward to that. I like how she has this idea of what these cities are. And then I like seeing her reaction to the reality of it. So like New York, we took her. She loved it. She fell in love with it. It's her favorite city. She enjoyed Chicago. We did Miami last year. And so we'll do LA this year. And so it's just going to be interesting to see, because I'm sure she has this very glamorous outlook on it, because she says she wants to go to Hollywood. And if you've been to LA, you know there's a stench in the air. There's a lot of homelessness. And it's a lot of things that you don't see when they feature LA on television that you see when you're actually there. So I'm interested in that. And we always have fun. They enjoy the things that I plan when we go these places. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to a few financial things that I have planned, but I don't want to get into specifics with that. Just that I am ahead of my goal on a couple of them, and I'm looking forward to surpassing that goal and even getting more into stocks too, because I have these like little stocks that I get and don't pay much attention to, but I'm going to try to be a little more educated on some of them and try to make even more educated guesses and picks and things on that. So those are my two things.
Yeah. Cool. For me, mine is I'm excited and scared and sad and everything at the same time.
I know what it is.
So Haley, I congratulated Haley. She graduated. She did that. And I don't know if I've said it on the podcast, but she got accepted into PT school, so she will be getting her doctorate. And so she has gotten accepted into one. She's waiting to hear a response from another. But both schools that we're waiting on or already have heard back from are not in Birmingham. So she's going to be moving out. She's going to be leaving. And for me, I'm excited. She gets to go out, do her thing, go be the best Haley she can be. But at the same time, because she didn't live with me through high school, this is my first time. She's lived with me for the last 3 years. And this is like my first time of like moving her out of the house and moving her into somewhere else, and like driving her down and then saying bye and all that. Like I didn't have to do that because she was coming to Birmingham last time, so I was actually the one receiving her, and I was super excited about her coming. So now it's like I've got to say goodbye, and I got to let her kind of fly the coop or fly the nest at this point. So I'm excited for it because I'm excited for her life and her moving on. I'm excited that she got into PT school, but at the same time, man, it's sad. It's like, man, I see what people go through when their kid graduates high school, and I got to do it 2 more times with the kids. So it's just the first of 3 that I've got to do. So,
well, congrats, Haley. I thought you were about to say Sophie going to middle school.
That too. That's a little scary, but Sophie's okay. She's gonna be all right. She still come home at the end of the day, and tell me about it and all of that. So it's a little different from them moving away, like out of the city. Because
I just know middle school was like a big culture change. Like that's when you go from being a little kid to a big kid. High school's same, but like middle school, like you're officially like kind of a big kid.
Yeah,
you're not in school. Kindergarten.
She goes from walking to school to riding the bus, and so it's like going to be a big shift for her. I'm not taking her to school anymore. I'm not dropping her off. Like she's getting on the bus and just going to school, handling her own thing. So it's going to be different.
I just remember middle school, like just seeing, people come 6th grade versus the end of 6th grade, and by 8th grade, like the difference in those age groups mentality and all that stuff. So, alrighty, that was a quick one. Buff, let's go ahead and jump into a question for you, sir.
So salute to you, Rozzy, for being right that it'll be short, because we say that all the time and you listen. So mine comes from a past post that we made back in October, And the post read, it was actually quoting someone on a video that we saw, but it says, have you healed, or are you expecting the person in your new relationship to heal you? But the question really comes from one of the comments we got. Friend of the show, been on the show, and she's a listener and one of our fans. Her comment was, healing isn't a destination. It's a continuous process. And so I thought that was interesting. And whenever I see something interesting, I like to bring it to the show and ask you, brothers, when it comes to healing, do you agree that you never really fully heal, that it's just a constant journey and not a destination?
I'll jump in first. I mean, I think it depends on what you're healing from, right? I do think it's a constant journey, but I think it's a difference of healing and, say, like, if you get a cut and you have scar tissue, right? Like, there's always going to be scar tissue there. So you may be healed, but there's still scar tissue there. There's still, like, that reminder there. Sometimes, you know, I don't know if you guys ever have cuts that kind of, that you got that scar there and it kind of itches a little bit, or like it just bothers you a little bit. You know, you break your arm and it's still a little, something's still there. You're healed, but it's still, like, you can feel it. And I think that's what happens. And then there's sometimes that, like, with losing Jen and like, I think I'm always going to be healing from that. I don't think I'm ever going to be completely healed. Am I healed enough to be able to go out and date again? Am I healed enough that, you know, as long as I tread lightly, I'm good. I'm not going to reopen the wound or anything like that, but I'm still healing there. And I think those just take so long that you can't wait until you're fully healed, right? I mean, it may take some things, it may take you moving on, and it may take those different relationships, and it may take those things to make sure to get you healed. You can't heal alone, right? So it just really depends on what caused the injury, what you're healing from. And I hate to say it, but sometimes those relationships that fail may be the things that you needed to heal. And unfortunately, a significant other person in that relationship, you were caught in that, right? So, you know, you thought you were healed enough and you weren't carrying that baggage, and you got in a relationship and you saw, oh, I'm still carrying this baggage. And as you work through that with that other person, maybe y'all don't work out, but you come out of that situation a little more healed. Like, you worked on it a little bit. And so maybe your next relationship, you're better at it because you can identify, I messed that last relationship up because of that baggage. So I'm going to do something different so that I don't mess this next relationship up because of that baggage. So I think it's both. I don't think there's like you're always going to be healed or not. I think it just depends on the situation, how soon since then, and that type of thing. So not an answer. It's a non-answer to the answer. My politician's answer.
I think this is a very deep question when you think about it. I think about, you know, I think all things are related, right? Like, emotions are just like any other part of your body, just like anything else. Once there is a crack or a fracture, it's always there. You can patch it, you can seal it, but it's still like that once that there's a crack in the foundation, there's always a crack in the foundation. It could be like new, but it's not new, right? It's not there. So it could be an injury or something to your, emotions or whatever when you're really young. And so think about it, like, it's easier for that. It might be healed enough where it's functioning, right? But at the same time, it's probably easier to be re-injured or re-aggravated. So it's almost like having a Carfax, or, you're looking at somebody's medical record. That's why they're asking about your medical record. When you look at a football player, basketball player, they can twist their ankle, but now they're always going to have ankle problems. Now they have to learn how to treat it and ice it and do all the stuff, but that ankle's always going to be an issue. So it could be a mild insecurity growing up. Like people used to call you fat, whatever the case may be. You're not fat anymore. You're in shape. But that feeling of insecurity, it might be the next thing might be broke. It might be you're too short. Like there's certain things, even though you can be confident, can still trigger you because that insecurity, you haven't healed from that insecurity. You can be the most confident person in the world, but there's still a level of insecurity that if the right amount of pressure or right point is triggered, then that injury is reaggravated. It's like boxing, you have scar tissue. Some people, they get cut enough, they can be the best boxer out there. If they get cut enough, you hit them in the right point over that eye, they're going to start leaking, right? It's still there. If you break a leg, you still can be the fastest person, but you can still be re-injured. So I think it's just like that. It might not be the same exact thing that injures you, right? It might not be, maybe you're more confident in your relationships, but now it's your job. You have insecurities about your job. But when you become insecure, you start doing certain things. So whatever those things are, I think healing is just part of life, right? You're always healing. The body is naturally dying and healing every day. Cells die, cells replenish. I think that's everything we do. Your car sitting in the yard is getting older and older every day. Like things are going to break down and stuff like that. And you still got to maintain it. So I think it's going to be a constant journey. Hopefully you've healed enough and you avoid those things that could potentially harm you or re-aggravate those emotional injuries.
So this question provokes such a variety of answers, because I remember when I first read them, I'm like, what, you never heal? What? And as I thought more about it, I'm like, I think what it is kind of like what Rozzy said. It obviously varies from person to person, and it also varies from whatever trauma it was that led you to seeking therapy or whatever. If that varies as well. So I would think if a person is raped, then they probably never fully heal with it. And I think in this answer, we have to you have to determine what is your definition of healing. Is being healed, being able to cope with that trauma, not letting things trigger you like it did when it initially happened and soon after that? Or is that considered a heal, or is that considered the journey? Is that the destination or the journey? For me, I think if things no longer trigger you on it, and it's not something that is controlling your life in the least bit, I think healing can be a destination on some things. I think there are some things that you can be healed from, and I think there are other things that are so traumatic that you may learn how to cope with it, deal with it, but it's still always in the back of your mind. It still gives you that nervous feeling or whatever type of feel, however you want to describe it, at times when you see something that reminds you of it. So I just think it's kind of a yes and no, a both ways, kind of like Rozzy say, an answer, non-answer. Yeah. It depends. It really does.
Yeah. And for me, the only reason I say I think you're never quite healed, it's always a journey, is because I think you can get better at navigating life where you avoid those things that re-injure you. Whatever it is, just like athletics. Like if you injure your knee, you're going to stretch a little more. You might wear a knee. You're going to take precautions, and that precautions might be avoidance, or it might be extra protection. But at the same time, that scar tissue is always there. That's why I feel like when they talk about a lot of therapists go directly to your childhood, right? Because it's like we think we're healed. We've learned we've created a life around, this is how I deal with those issues or those injuries, but you really haven't. Let's it's the difference in me just, you breaking your leg and your mama rubbing some red dirt on it and telling you to drink some tussin versus going to a physical therapist who's going to say, hey, or a chiropractor like, hey, you kind of healed, but there's still a misalignment, or we need to stretch you out, or we need to do this. But recognize that you're still going to be, that shoulder will never be 100% ever again. I think once you chip away at little things, but you learn how to deal with it. I think healing's a destination. When you play sports, they say everybody's playing with injuries.
Yep.
Just like in life. That's why I believe everybody needs therapy. Like we're all living life with injuries, it's how do you navigate, we're all dealing with this. We're all going through this. We've learned how to deal with it better, right? We learn how to play through the pain. We learn how to, overcome those things. Because I can't really think of anything where I'm trying to think of that thing where, hey, you're completely healed, because it might be you're over the situation, but it's the emotion or the deeper issue that you're still dealing with. You're not fat anymore, so you don't worry about anybody calling you fat. That's not what you're healed from. Now you're healed from the memories of being called fat, but what's my next thing that people are going to talk about? What's my next thing that people are going to judge me about? So now you're trying to be perfect, right? Like you worry about being perfect so nobody can call you anything. So you're always in the gym. You got your money right. Like ain't nobody want to ever be able to talk about me again. It's like, you're healed, because you're a great person, but you're overcompensating, right?
Right,
for this.
Right.
So
you're not actually healed. You're healed. You've set the situation where you've coped, right? Or you like you said, you added those layers of protection, right? My money's right. I look good. I'm not fat. I go to the dermatologist. My skin's on point. All of this, and so now you put those layers of protection. So now they can't hit you with those insecurities, right? They can't talk about you. But ultimately, if somebody did say something, it's still that mental is still there where it's still gonna get to you. I like it. Probably the easiest one for me is my PTSD, right? Like I know how to navigate. I know where to go and where I can't go. I know when I start getting kind of wound up, I'm like, I got to get out of here. I got to go. I got to, and so it's that where you're able to figure out that if I'm going to go into a crowded area, I got to go with 2 or 3 of my friends. So now I feel a little bit more comfortable, right? I can't go by myself. Like I can't go in a situation with a lot of people by myself. I need people that I feel like can, like, hey, we can take care of ourselves, or like I got my squad with me. So I've found ways to make myself more comfortable doing it, but ultimately it's still back there, right? It's still back there, and I might, get a panic attack or something happens and that type of thing. And so that's, I think, where people have to be ready as we get older, and you're trying to get in relationships with somebody that's 30, 40 years old. It's very different than somebody that's 19, 20. They have different life experiences. They may not have had as much trauma, but as they get older, they have more opportunities to have trauma. And so they are carrying more baggage. And so you got to be ready for that. I mean, if you're ladies, guys, if you're out there and you're 35, 40 and you're dating right now, there's probably going to be baggage and trauma with that person you're dating. You're not going to have a person that's healed or 100% healed as they come into that relationship. It's just, that doesn't work.
Could an example
you just gotta find somebody you're comfortable with?
Could an example be? We see a lot of times people that have been in a long-term relationship or previously married, and it was like a bad divorce or breakup, and they'll say, "I'm never getting married again. I'm fine by myself." If over time they meet the right person and decide to get married again, live happily ever after, would that be an example of someone that is healed? Like they got over whatever trauma they experienced in a relationship that made them say, you know what, I'm done with all relationships, to finally allowing someone to be vulnerable with someone and love someone and eventually do what they said they would never do again.
I would beg to think that there's still something in the back of their mind. They're going to be a little more cautious. They're going to be looking for red flags. Anything that reminds them of that former relationship. Like, we've all been in relationships. Anything that reminds me of that, like, crazy. Like whatever it is, you're looking for those red flags. They're open to the opportunity. They're open to the journey now that they weren't open to. It's like you have a bad injury, people are like, I'm never running again. Like I'm not going through the skin. And take a marriage out of it. It could be any bad relationship. Man, I ain't dating no woman. These chicks out here still. And then, over time, you're more open to it. They say time heals all wounds, right? Mm-hmm. Because contrary to what we're saying right now, it's healed enough, and I guess it goes back to your original statement. Is like, what is the definition of healed?
Yeah.
Are you healed enough to continue on? And you develop the proper tools. You got your knee brace on your relationship now, right? You're more prepared. You stretch better. After I had my first real injury when I ran track, the way I stretched from that point on was completely different. Like I was hurt one time, but I still have like my pointer and my hip never healed properly. I was able to still run, but it was still always a problem. I think it's the same thing. In most situations, I think we learn how to adjust and deal with life. But I think at the same time, we're always, and I think that the way the mind is wired, that's how we learn. You say you learn from your mistakes. You learn from like, if a dude says this, because you would, if you didn't, because you said happily ever after, it's the reason you're probably able to choose this person is because in the back of your mind, you're looking for certain things to avoid with this new person, right? Like if this new person is very controlling with the money and the ex-husband was too, you're out. You're checking for those red. You don't enter that relationship or you're out. That's probably the person this lady married in your example probably wasn't the first person she dated. Right after the divorce, It probably took a journey for her to get there. Now it's still part of the journey, right? Like now you've dated, you probably weeded out several bad guys or guys that weren't a good fit for you, and now you found somebody that you feel like you can live your life with and to continue this journey of life with, right?
Maybe the destination is learning to cope with the trauma.
Yep.
Yeah.
And living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My therapist always used the analogy that, your trauma doesn't go away. It's what she was trying to do with me is when you open, like, think about throwing all your trauma into a closet and just open and closing the door, right? And when you open it, every time you open it, it just like falls on top of you, right?
Yeah.
She was like, my job is to help you pack it and fold it and put it in the closet that when you open the door, it doesn't fall out on you. That's it. It's not going away. It's not, you can't get over it. She wants you to be able, or she wanted me to be able to open it and pull it out and look at it and think about it and everything and it not overwhelm me. It didn't tumble on me. And so that's how I always looked at it, was just like, that makes sense. All I'm trying to do is just package it where it doesn't overwhelm me. And in any relationship, whatever, those red flags and everything, being able to just not just say, throw your hands up and walk away from the relationship, to be able to say, this is a red flag. Let me have a conversation with him. Let me talk to him about it. And as a spouse, as somebody that's coming in that relationship, right? You gotta, if you really care about that person, you got to be able to talk to them. And when that woman says, or that man says, hey, that thing that you did is a red flag for me, it bothers me, and to be able to adjust and say, well, babe, my bad. We can do it this way from now on, or I'll try not to do that, right? Like, if I'm hurrying you off the phone or whatever, every time you call me at work, we'll work on that, right? Or, babe, I'll call you on my lunch. Like, you can't be calling me in the middle of the day, type thing. So,
I'm glad you said. I was thinking that exactly, man. I'm glad you said that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Really good question. Really good question. I mean, I think that's the beautiful thing about it is life throws these things at you and you learn from them. And then because the end of the journey is, death. I think that's the journey, right? Like life is the full journey. Mm-hmm. And when you look back at it, you're going to remember, if if you go talk to athletes and they'll tell you when they got a certain injury, you know, like, man, I got this in the, you know, or fighters like, oh yeah, he did this, you know, I got this when I fought Tyson, and like, you remember those scars, you remember those things, you know. And I'm not going to do that cliche, you know, everything happens for a reason, and you cope with life, you learn how to deal with it, and then how do you adjust your life accordingly? Shout out to Ani, Baraka, Moselle, Anime, Bula.
De La Cruz.
Yeah. Shout out. That was her comment. When you said it, I'm like, that sounds like a Ani quote. Our opinion.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, fellas, let's go ahead and close it out.
Only thing I got, man, or two things. One is shout out to Sophie. She made her debut in basketball. Smallest thing on the court. It was so funny, and she is so prissy. So she was just prancing down the court or whatever. But she had our first two games on Friday, and I saw the growth from the first game to the second game. She started figuring it out, and she actually had the most rebounds on the whole team in the second game. So she was out there, she was getting it. I mean, she wasn't letting her size like be a issue, and she's playing 5th and 6th grade, so she's playing with 6th grade girls, and so those girls are like way taller than her. But she was out there and she was getting it in. So shout out to her, man. And I really love going to see the kids play. So watching youth sports is just so fun, man. I know that, you know, you just got to throw the rules out. You're not watching the NBA or whatever, but it's just fun, man, to see them out there really trying and having a good time and everything. So shout out to her, man. Good job, baby. And the other thing, man, is digital media is pretty much dead. Or not digital media, physical media is pretty much dead. So those DVDs, CDs, stuff like that. Walmart already pulled them out. Best Buy pulled all physical media out of their stores over the Christmas break. So if you have those DVDs and those DVD players and you still like that physical media, try to find it and figure it out now, because it's going away and it's probably not coming back, folks. I say that, but records are making a big, huge comeback. And so a lot of people are starting to do that kind of as a hobby. And maybe that's what'll happen with the CDs and DVDs. But, you know, if you're into physical media, man, get it now, because it's gone. It's pretty much out of there.
Well, Z got a record player for Christmas. That's what she wanted. So we got a record player, several records, stand, all this stuff. Oh, yeah. It's coming back.
I'm excited about my Miles Davis vinyl I just got. My question was a post, and one of my parting shots is a post that a Facebook user posted that actually he's a classmate. I shouldn't even just call him a Facebook user. A classmate of ours posted this, and I thought it was well put. I don't know if he wrote it or if he copied it from someone, but it said, "Ever notice how we need to have proof of good things, but never need proof of bad things because, quote, we figured. Take this TD Jake news. Plenty of proof he's a man of God, not to be confused with perfect. And yet this news of him trending with no proof other than a gossipy TikTok post with no proof of the claims kind of shows you how people think and the frequency they're on. This isn't about TD Jakes. Just thought that's a good example. We hear bad and run with it. We hear good and, quote, I gotta see it to believe it. Vibrate higher, believe more good and great things, and watch how being on that frequency attracts more good things to you." And I just want to echo that. That's not really about TD Jakes, but I thought it was interesting because a lot of times I do think we hear something bad and a lot of people need little to no proof versus they hear something good. It's like, I don't know about that. I like they say, I got to see it to believe it. So just something to think about when you see these different rumors and things on social media and on podcasts and things like that. Just let's be a little bit slower to believe the bad. And people, and again, it's not about TD Jakes. I don't even know the man. I don't follow the man. I don't know what he's involved in. Just in general, let's give people the benefit of the doubt. And speaking of rumors and things like that, Cat Williams, I think that may have been one of the most viral interviews. I don't know if this was the record, but as far as interviews go, it was like Birdman on Breakfast Club and somebody else. And like the Cat Williams interview has surpassed that with like 23 million views as we record on Saturday. Shannon Sharpe has less than 2 million subscribers. More than 20 million views on that interview. It was interesting. It was extremely long, by the way, but it was interesting. The boy had a lot to say. The young man had a lot to say. The gentleman had a lot to say about a lot of people that we enjoy in entertainment. I don't know what's true. I don't know what was fabricated or exaggerated. All I know is he got a lot off his chest. He got a lot off his chest. And I have yet to see anybody say he was lying. So there's that. I have seen people confirm a lot of what he said. So it was just interesting, man. The only thing I'll say about that is,
well, Cube did say there was no rape scene in the movie.
Okay, yeah.
That's the only thing. But he did kind of talk, agree with a lot of the stuff and just
but Cube also said that he wouldn't do that and didn't do that, and then he put one in Players Club. Like, so they didn't shoot the actual rape scene.
Yeah.
But he alluded to it. I mean, let's be honest about it. So, but like he confirmed the Ricky Smiley thing, the Ricky Smiley, Cat Williams version of it, right? Ricky Smiley auditioned for it, but he never had the role. And then they gave him a different role for it. It's not they ever gave him Money Mike. So there's that. But going back to what you were saying, Buff, about needing proof or whatever, just because of some of the stuff that Cat Williams said is true, doesn't mean everything that Cat Williams said is true. So don't look at that entire 3 hours and be like, oh yeah, well, all of that got to be true. He read 3,000 books in 1 year. I can almost categorically say that's false.
Oh, forget that.
That's not happening.
He hitchhiked at 13 from Ohio to Florida. I mean, okay. All right, bro. Hey, whatever.
But, to answer your question, Buff, that you kind of led to, it's very simple. And a wise man named Will Ferrell said it once. No one knows what it means. It's provocative. It gets the people going.
Keeps the people going.
That's all they need. That's why Cat Williams has 23 million views, including myself. It gets, it's, somebody could come down and say, here is the meaning of life. And it could be all truth. It's not going to get $23 million views.
The line of the interview, though, was, you have an unnatural... you have an unnatural something for losers or something like that. I forgot. I done messed it up. I forgot. But damn,
I know exactly what it was. And he just, it's such a straight face.
Yeah, he took a sip.
Allegiance. A natural allegiance to protect losers.
Oh,
like, wow. I'm pretty sure
a fat face online.
I'm pretty sure now that and I will tell you, Cat Williams will be here in February, and I was not going.
But you going?
Right after I watched that interview, I went and bought tickets, so I'm going now.
That was a special. That was better than most. It was just. Oh my God, I can't think of his comedian. Oh, I can't think of his name right now. But younger comedian. And I loved his take on it. He's like, there's probably a lot of truth to that. But there's also probably a lot of stuff that wasn't true. But it was entertaining.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And he said, Cat Williams' job is just to be entertaining. If people want to take everything he said as gospel, that's on them. but he's a comedian. He's here to entertain. And he called out several things, you know, was like, this didn't happen, this doesn't happen. But that shit was funny. He's like, the fact that he said he ran a 4.340, it was funny. You know, like 3,000 books. Funny. But a lot of the stuff that he said, you know, there's probably some truth to it. And what I took from it, I was going to hit on this, is people fall into like two camps. Well, three camps. There's people who, when somebody says a small bit of truth, they believe everything that person says. So there's people that believe all 2 hours and 46 minutes, whatever Cat Williams said, is true. Then you have somebody who says, if somebody says one thing they can't believe, it discredits, or they don't say, you know, it perfectly, you know. Well, we had a similar situation when somebody said, well, anybody that says all or every, I can't believe. You're like, it's vernacular. When people are talking in general, they make generalizations. Doesn't mean that their observations do not have truth to it. I don't believe in absolutes. And then there's the people who can kind of say, I'm going to take this and I'm going to weed it out. In that 2 hours, if you think 15 minutes of what he said was true and you were entertained, you're fine with that. Or you thought 2 hours of what he said was true, is fine with that. But, you know, it's funny how a lot of people are all one way or the other. Like, he speaks the truth. He's all like, did you listen to the same interview I listened to? You know,
death of critical thinking, bro. Death of critical thinking.
You know, but that's where we live in. Last but not least, Razi, you brought up Phase 10, and I brought up one game, and I was going to close with the other game. I don't know the last time y'all played Uno. I know you're a Phase 10 family, but they have a Uno No Mercy. That's on a whole nother level, bro. Bro, that's a whole nother level.
Okay.
Yeah, bro.
All right.
I'm not going to tell you the secret to the game, but it took one game, probably took us 2 hours, not more. It was probably like 8 of us playing, so 7, 8 of us, but it was going down. And it just, when I say you just look at people, like, you develop enemies. You develop enemies on No Mercy. So if you guys haven't played it, Uno No Mercy, Uno's the thing about No Mercy is a lot of the rules that we came up with, they specifically hit on. And then they added in some of the new cards, because they have like Uno No Mercy, Uno Flip. Uno's really reinvented themselves. You've seen Uno Flip? Nice. I think it's Uno Flip, where they got like two sides to the card.
Two sides to the cards,
Yeah, so we're an Uno family. But with that being said, Three Brothers No Sense, Happy New Year. 6 Rules of Podcast. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.